All right, welcome to another episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. And today we actually have two special guests with us. They are co-brokers at a brokerage, the New Home Group. And so we have Kelly and James on the show. Welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Of course. So the show is going to be all about you. We'd love to deep dive a little bit more into, of course, the brokerage, the culture that you have there. Looks like you're doing amazing things, growing the team. So kudos to you guys. So first and foremost, whoever wants to start off answering this first, when did you guys get the actual brokerage started?
I'll let James take this one.
Probably started the brokerage in, we want to say probably 6 years ago. I started with a previous partner who is no longer with me, and it was a boutique, small, two-man shop, and it over time slowly grew into what it is today. And I probably met Kelly, I would say 3 years ago and change. She was originally kind of hired to come on board and be like my marketing person.
So I met James, and my background's advertising. So I've been selling advertising for 12 years on television, and he met me and he's like, I need some help with my quote unquote social media. Well, what he really meant was like his logo was made out of clip art and he was using Comic Sans font. I mean, it was terrible. So it turned into what started as a social media consult turned into me quitting my full-time awesome corporate job with benefits and diving head into selling real estate full-time with him and doing a lot of the marketing and advertising.
We probably learned pretty fast that we were really like-minded, had similar goals. And so as my previous partner kind of phased his way out, Kelly kind of phased her way in and became owner of the brokerage as well as the team with me. And that was probably about 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
Good story.
Yeah, it's a great story. And you never know, right? I mean, you start one way and then it evolves into something else. A little context behind the scenes over at Liftoff. I mean, Dan Gandy and I met on Instagram. So
awesome.
He's our VP of growth at Liftoff. You would never know that it would come up that way. And we're talking partnership as well here in the next year or two to come. So, you never know. Never know. That's awesome. So fantastic. So now we know about the business, how long it's been around for. So that's great. Going into the next question. So as far as the brokerage as a whole, past 12 months, how many sizes is the actual brokerage doing?
That's a good question. So this year is going to be our biggest year ever. We've almost doubled in volume since last year. And we're looking at hitting right around, it's going to be close to 1,000 transactions this year.
Wow.
That's the most we've ever heard on the show.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And blessings to you guys, because I know that right now in the world that we live, it's very opposite end of the spectrum. Some are having the best year of their life, and some unfortunately aren't having the best year of their life. So God bless all those, and we wish them success and wealth and happiness. But good job for you guys to be able to do that and to have that success. So awesome. So as far as the brokerage is concerned, I'm sure you have buyer side, seller side agents. How do you operate that? Do you have different types of agents for different types of transactions, or is it kind of on their own, or how do you guys operate there?
Good question. So within the W Home Group team, we only hire top producers, full-time agents, really well-respected agents in the industry. So W Home Group really will stay pretty exclusive and small and keep that boutique feel. The brokerage as a whole isn't that far off from that, though. We really don't have different agents for different sides. We believe that every agent that works here should be able to handle both sides really, really well. We do have some showing agents so that we can be more than one place at once for our top producing agents, but that's more just somebody showing a buyer a house. They're not negotiating deals or anything on their behalf.
And the idea is that we could literally give any single buyer or seller to anyone in the brokerage and they would be handled correctly.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that model.
Yeah, that Starbucks feel where you go to a Starbucks and you get the same experience, and obviously they're great with customer service. We want to be the same way where if somebody needs to fill in for somebody, they're getting the exact same awesome customer service.
I love that.
You're getting more scalability with that model. That's great.
Yep. Protecting the brand, making sure that you have a certain type As I'm sure our listeners and viewers know, 90% of the transaction volume is done by the top 10% of real estate professionals. It might be 5 after COVID. So to keep that dear and near, it definitely helps a lot. So how many agents do you have there at the brokerage there?
Probably 75, probably.
Yeah,
Wow.
and on our team, we have 20.
Wow.
Yeah, but we're so selective though, right? Because it just matters so much in this world in terms of like, we're not willing to just like pad stats and have agents who just aren't like-minded or like willing to be a good representation of us in the world.
Yeah, so our team probably accounts for half of the brokerage's volume, and we'll be able to build the brokerage bigger because we can have more agents. We don't require them to be full-time if they're at the brokerage. They have to be a good agent. They have to do a good amount of volume and transactions, know what they're doing. We don't hire really newbies or things like that, but they don't have to be, a 10 million a year producer to be at the brokerage.
That's awesome. So are you good now? Are you kind of like capping out, or do you feel like you can still take on some additional agents?
We're not slowing down.
No, we're just getting started. We're excited.
Yeah, we have some really good opportunities, we think. We just think we have really good momentum with like the numbers that we do and the market share that we have. And I just think that we bring something a lot different to the table that hasn't really been done or seen here. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, like when we started working together, we could fit the entire brokerage around a small dinner table or share one pizza, and now there's 75 agents.
Like
so
I would have to go out and like have drinks with an agent like 5 times for like a below average agent just to have them come on board. And now I get phone calls.
We're turning agents down.
Yeah, from agents who are like good agents who want to join. So it's pretty awesome.
You've created the recruiting magnet that I like to call. Like they just magnetize to you because they want your systems, they want your rainmaker ability, they want your training, your coaching, and your authority.
Well, the culture is so important too, and that's why we're so like selective. We've had like really good agents who we knew wouldn't be a good fit here who we actually turned away because like everyone here is like really, really great. And like, we're just not willing to like ruin that for one top producing agent who's like a diva.
It's so interesting because agents will always come to us after they've been here. It's usually around the 6-week mark. And they'll come to one of us and say, oh my gosh, everybody here really is wonderful. Like they don't actually believe you. And then the other thing after it's usually more like 9 months, they'll be like, even with your lower splits, my income, I've already surpassed last year's income. Like these systems totally work. I'm selling more than ever and I'm not killing myself trying. It's like these 2 comments, I'm just like, it's like clockwork now. We love it.
That's awesome.
Like they say, when you're doing something right, they're going to come to you. You don't need to go to them anymore. And it sounds like you've done that. And, even for people that I'm sure for viewers and listeners out there, even if you say, hey, I'm not interested, right now is not a good fit, that would just motivate me personally to be like, what do I need to do to be a good fit? Like, I will do whatever it takes because I have to be, at the New Home Group. So W Home New Group. I love that. So the last question for me before we get into the quick rounds, as far as lightning rounds are concerned, technology. So has there been any technology that's kind of disrupted the brokerage in a sense where now you've adapted to it that's even like helped you like with business, revenue, or automation?
That's a great question. So I could answer it 2 ways. The one thing that has been our goal for the past 2 years, and I'm sure most listeners can agree, is get off Zillow. Now Zillow is actually our competition. They literally are.
They always were, but we knew that.
They tried calling me the other day, telling me that now that they're a brokerage, how this is going to help me. I said, you're calling a broker owner telling me that I'm paying my competition now for my leads. Like you need to call somebody else.
The goal has always been able to create really good systems that allows us to get off of Zillow, and we're like 95% there.
We're finally being able to be self-gen in terms of leads, and that's going to happen early next year, which we're excited about.
Yeah.
And I would say the other part of that, or a big piece of it, is our after sale plan is now pretty automated. We follow our clients for about 5 years, and it's really robust. We do a lot of things after the sale that just stay in touch with them, and there's so many surprises built into it that our clients are wowed by it. They share it, they post it, they tell their friends about it. And that's been huge for us.
We allow our agents to tap into that after a closing, so they can just like check a box, get automatically debited, and they get pizza upon like moving, they get like various things upon the entire journey. So it just increases referrals like pretty significantly. I think Kelly and I did some tracking in 18 months. Kelly and I got 88 referrals from this program. So we know for a fact.
It was giving us, just this program resulted in almost 2 million in volume per month for us. And it's fully automated. So the technology behind it is just, you set it and forget it, and your clients think that they are top of mind for you the whole time. So that's been huge. I think that's probably our biggest like differentiator, and it's allowed us to combat things like the iBuyer and, you know, the Zillows and the Redfins.
Because at the end of the day, the service is what's most important, right? If you like, keep a good relationship and have really good service, like they're not going to call these discount brokerages who have salary-based employees to help them out. They're going to call you because like there's like the loyalty there, and that's like built over time on good service.
You brought up a big concept that my mentor shared with me early on when I was working in the brokerage side is the deal's never actually done. You just close the transaction, but the deal is never done. Like the relationship, the support, the check-ins, just the SOI, the nurture sequence, the automation to that is just what's going to give you more and more deals, more and more referrals.
Yeah, so even when we were actually using Zillow at a high level, the value of Zillow was like it was able for us to create relationships with that individual that were going to bypass that transaction, right? Like I didn't care about the one transaction. I cared about the 5 years when they sell or the 4 referrals they give me over that duration of time. It wasn't actually individual transaction.
It's really cool, the CRM we use. Like we'll go in and see, you know, you can see all of the history of any person that's in there. And it's really fun to see somebody that says, where was the source? And it says Zillow. Well, it was really Zillow 6 years ago. You know, this is their 3rd house now. It's cool to see that.
And instead of them going to like one of these discount brokerages to get like a rebate of like, you know, $1,200 in a terrible realtor, they in fact then come to us, which is great because they know they're going to get good service.
Yep, that's so great. And the last thing I have before we switch over to the lightning round with Dan, and for our listeners and viewers to understand, is that when you're paying Zillow, you're kind of on a morphing drip, right? And all you're doing is you're bringing in business now, but you're really pushing the Zillow brand instead of your personal brand. And not only that, how many agents it's all in the follow-up, and they don't follow up after that deal and that transaction.
Well, and also to that same point, like, I'm not really into giving an agent a lead. I can do that to help someone out who's maybe in a rut. The truth is I want to teach you systems so you can like build an actual business that's sustainable, that's not based on a third-party site. If you can't do that, your model is not going to work long-term.
So we used me as a test study because I knew how to sell. I was in sales for 12 years.
Appreciate you knew how to follow up and do all the right things, like you know, stuff that you just mentioned.
I plugged into these systems that James already had for himself, and
with my clip art.
With his clip art. And together we refined them. There's no more clip art, but we refined them. But I was able to sell off of those systems, and this was before they were even refined. 14 million my first year, just off of that. So we knew we had something, and that's what, when agents started seeing that, when they come over now, they're experiencing something very similar if they plug into these systems. And it's not just here's a lead follow up. It's like here's how to use all of your resources to close those open house leads, close your SOI, use your social media, and they all work together really, really well.
That's amazing. Just a little tip for some brokers out there, maybe a business model, a course or something coming in the future of the new group.
Always open discussion.
We can't tell our trade secrets.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera angle here. Dan, you go ahead and take it away for the lightning rounds.
Yeah. Totally. And if there's any questions that are proprietary, you can say pass. Like it's totally cool.
So it's it's open
There's
book
not
here.
really that many secrets.
What's your number one lead source in macro sense for the whole brokerage?
Sphere of influence.
Yeah, SOI. We have a really big SOI follow-up campaign that runs for them, for everybody.
It's 24 touch points a year. It's like super aggressive, but it's awesome. Perfect. We created our stuff internally too. So
awesome. And then are you still preaching cold calling and prospecting and building that database?
We're not really big cold callers, and we have systems if our agents want to go run down expireds and stuff like that, but we're not really that into it.
It's like the 1% rule of calling 100 people and like getting that one person on the phone who might want to buy or sell is like a poor use of time versus other things that you can do to like generate business.
Yep. And then direct mail. Are you supporting a touch program via the mailbox?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's expensive, but if you do it consistently, it works, but you actually have to do it consistently. So we do ours once every...
They go out when it's a new farm, it's going to go out once a week to start for 6 weeks, and then it goes to every 3 weeks after that, and after 9 months, it's once a month. But we never do less than once a month, ever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For the first year too, the numbers don't perform great, and so like you have to know that like by year 2, it almost like triples in terms of performance rates.
So we look at our farms, like this morning, actually, we had a whiteboard out. We were tracking all of our farms, like which ones are working, which ones aren't. Let's get rid of this. Let's add to that.
Kelly's a big whiteboard.
I love a whiteboard.
Me too.
I was
15 of them in our office. It's great. I
was a marketing director at a brokerage. So I did that before I became an agent. So I can relate totally. It's all about tracking. Building organic website and SEO and getting inbound leads just by having a good brand. Is that something that you guys preach?
Yeah, so we have a really nice website. We're actually updating it to be even have more functionality along those lines. But what we learned was our social media performs really, really well for us. You're not able to demo target anything on social media anymore. They're not letting you pick any of the things that matter to us. It's just geography. Yeah. So we took all of our SOI and database lists and a bunch of lists that we had. We dumped them in instead, found lookalikes, sent them to the website, put a pixel on the website so it could retarget them, and we follow them around. So the best thing we could get was lookalikes, but we found like it's actually awesome to have our SOIs like Ant find us, like because they kind of already know us. It actually is more powerful than demo targeting.
Wow. Yeah, you just preach what we do every day. So no, that's
smart.
Yeah. Facebook lead gen, you just answered my question. So you guys you're playing around with that, but in terms of social media and training your agents on how to build organic content and video and reels and keeping an audience around them, is that something you guys really preach?
Yeah, Kelly's really exceptional at that, so I'll let her probably take this one.
Yeah, so agents that like social media, I will help them create a plan, use Hootsuite, really simple. Honestly, we've learned with these agents, it doesn't take much. It just takes being consistent. So I help them find what their voice is going to be, what their couple of hooks are going to be, what the look and feel is going to be. We set that up, and then they really just have certain things that they're going to post about throughout the week. We are really particular about the voice that our agents have. Like we saw an agent, he posted a picture of like his buddy doing a keg stand. We're like, that's cool. You live downtown, you're young, whatever. But like, what if your buddy's mom wants to sell a house with you?
She's not going to call.
She's not going to call you. So if you only want to sell houses to frat boys in the city, then like that should be your brand. Like go for it. But
very limited market.
That's not what you told us you wanted to do. So we're really careful about that. And the agents that do it well, I mean, I myself probably get 4 to 6 leads on Instagram alone every month. Whether they go in there,
and I do mine like really poorly, I would say. I'd say I'm like a C.
Like maybe a C minus.
But like it's one of those things that like I enjoy it somewhat, but I'm also really busy. It's hard for me to dedicate time to it, but I still have a presence there.
But you still get leads on it.
Yeah, I'll probably this year close 7 either listings or buyer side transactions just from like I probably post like once every 3 weeks. I'm pretty bad.
Part of our business model, just Lift Off Agent sponsors this, but we take off the listing automation off of them so that they can concentrate on creating the content and like not literally putting posts and coming soon and price change. And in doing that, we've noticed that as we took that off their plate, like we'd always be like, hey guys, if you just focus on this, you're going to get tons of basically free lead gen.
Yeah.
And we've seen a big uptick in that, especially with COVID.
It's huge. Like we give all of our agents a social media pack for all of their listings. So all they have to do is post their story, post their square. And it's amazing. The ones that do it, it works. The other ones, I'm like, I literally am emailing you what you need to post. Like the only other thing I could do is log in for you. This is not complicated. So
Totally. What CRM do you guys use, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, we use Follow Up Boss.
Hey, we just had Dan Corkle on, and we used it myself. Yeah.
I was like his very first clients like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. They're wonderful.
they're so great.
It's cool because they're so small that they would like literally take feedback and like make changes.
I feel like they still do that. Like if you have an issue, they will fix it for you, which is awesome for us.
They just rolled out automations, and I've been like trying to get everything like in line for me. I'm like, because I'm a broker, so I'm just like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Our director of operations was geeking out about it. So it's good for
cool. Any time organization technology that you suggest to your agents or yourself?
Work a lot of hours. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, like I'm not one, I don't think like Kelly is, to be like from 9 to 10 we lead gen. Like our days are pretty jam packed as they are, and they're pretty long. And we probably have a little more burden just because we own the company and we have to manage it and recruit and do a lot of other things. But I think it does help new agents to get into a routine. Like when Kelly first started, she would show up every day. Like it's a job. You know, a lot of agents get into real estate and they think like, I can kind of work when I want to. Well, you can do that. You're just not going to sell a bunch of real estate. Like you have to treat it as a career and like literally show up every day.
So that we do encourage our agents to, at least in the beginning, to show up every single day into one of our offices. And our offices are honestly packed for real estate offices. There's agents in and out all day long, and that's part of our culture. But it's kind of the opposite of time blocking. We're like, actually spend a lot of time working here, and then you'll do great.
Keep the very high collection. Yeah. Last question for me. Any new technology that you guys are trying out and testing in your business that you'd like to share with anybody?
We've been trying YLOPO as a different lead source. It's a much different play than what we were used to having with Zillow, but it's the direction we're going, where you're getting somebody before they even know they're house hunting. So it's cool to see how that's going to work. We're still too early in to see, but we follow a lot of similar brokerages in other states and cities that are having massive success with it. So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving all that information. And if there's any listeners and viewers out there that want to start their own brokerage, definitely an episode to save and to watch it. Fantastic. So do you consider yourself, or do you have any agents that really niche down and are considered like an expert in a niche, whether that's luxury or sell by owner? Like, is there anything you guys really niche down on?
So we niche in geographies. Our team is like in a specific part of like a specific area, but what we will normally tell people is our only niche, or what we put out there, is 2 transaction buyers. We're really good at lining up the 2 timelines. We have some agents that focus in certain neighborhoods or certain price points, but as a whole, our bread and butter is really just an average $300,000 to $800,000 buyer seller combo.
Yeah, it's like an ideal client. Someone like, a first-time seller selling their, first townhome and then buying maybe like an upgraded house, which is like 2 transactions like Kelly mentioned. So like navigating that process has been like a pretty good sweet spot for us. We have agents who do more luxury stuff. Probably have 4 or 5 of them, but I'd say most kind of do a little bit of everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So if I was going to be a broker owner, is there a secret weapon or something for the listeners and viewers who say like, this is the golden nugget that they could take and apply?
My thought would be like, it's so important to have like amazing staff. Like we're really, really fortunate. So like having one bad employee mostly early on in the brokerage kind of path can be pretty treacherous. We just have like really, really amazing people around us that allows like Kelly and myself to be like as leveraged as possible to do all the things that we do. And so I think of finding the right people and try not to force someone in who you know like doesn't fit.
And I would say my biggest takeaway from doing this is I see people go through this all the time who are peers, but if you can partner with somebody and do this together, you will go further faster.
Yeah.
Like if we were each doing this, first of all, we would be each other's competition, and pretty big competition. And second of all, we would be doing everything ourselves. Like we really do leverage our time a lot better because there's 2 of us. And I know that's not possible for everybody, but if that is, I highly recommend like going down that path and exploring options.
And for these like brokers and teams, like people want to start brokerages and teams, like you have to have like a value add, like you have to offer something, right? Like, and so I always tell people who want to start a team, like you need to figure out a way to be able to self-generate $10 million in business on like systems that you've created, right? Whether that's minimally. Yeah, exactly. Whether it's open houses or like you buy leads, I don't really care what it is, but you have to have something that someone can plug into. Otherwise, there's no real value, right? You can't say, well, I get clients because I have a lot of friends, because that's not scalable. You can't like teach that if like you happen to have a lot of friends, but the next guy who comes in doesn't. So it's like building systems that are able to be scalable and allow people to plug into for success.
We get that a lot with like agents that are like, yeah, I work at this brokerage and like we're like 90% referral only. And I'm like, that's awesome if you live in Beverly Hills and like you're selling $30 million homes, but it's not scalable.
Right.
It's not.
Yep. Measurable, trackable, scalable. You got to be able to
I love
numbers.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's amazing with technology these days. You can do that. That's what it does. You can look at who's going to your website, what pages are they going to, social media, additional followers, how many connections are they getting, mailers, what's coming in from that activity.
Yep.
So no, I love that.
Pretty closely, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So we're at the part of the show now where we like to have the floor open. So, I'll put your links and all your information down below, but, is there anything that you're working on, something you want to share, join the brokerage, whatever it is, We'd love for you to go ahead and share. The floor is yours.
So we did roll out that after sale plan, which is something that we're going to probably bring to other markets, which we're really excited about. We just feel like it's something that agents, if used correctly, can use very well to leverage more business. So we're going to test case it here in Maryland, which we've already kind of started, but after it's successful, which we feel pretty good about, we're going to actually roll it out to other markets.
It's the one thing that agents, when they come to us, they just don't have time to do, or they don't do it well. And by being able to leverage a lot of volume in one area with all of the different vendors, they know exactly what to do. They send out the same floral arrangement to every single one of our clients. So something as small as that is really easily scaled to other markets. So we're excited to see how it works here for our agents, and then probably start slowly opening that up. And I would just say, if anybody has any questions, we're open book. So
Sure.
We love connecting with other agents and other brokers in other cities. So we're always available for that too.
It really is an open book because you have to actually, in fact, do the work, right? I mean, I can tell people okay, what we do, but most of them really sadly won't do it.
So we'll tell anybody anything. That's always our policy. When we meet with agents and they're like, I can't believe you're showing us all this stuff. I'm like, you're not going to do it. So it's fine.
It's like a full-time job for Kelly and I. I mean, we work around the clock and we love what we do also, which makes it a lot more enjoyable. We love the people that we work with, which also makes it really enjoyable. Mm-hmm. But to do the amount that we do, it's not for everyone, and so I know that. So we are always willing to share secrets as we see fit, just to help other people in the community.
Wow,
this has been a great podcast, guys. You brought a lot of value, and I think a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to be able to take some of this and really apply it to their own business. That's awesome.
We do. This is a really cool community you guys have created. It's a good idea.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. It's like a way for us to be able to kind of put perspectives out there and do some things. And we're looking at maybe a wild card episodes coming in the future for title companies, and have a program be a part of the show, so we can find out how many of these agents actually adapt to their suggestions, the things that they say to do. So,
all about the data.
So thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you so much, James. Really appreciate you both being on the show today. Dan, thank you so much for co-hosting today. And thank you to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, as it's our intention for you to take something from the episode to apply to your business and have more massive success. And we'll see you on the next one.
Hope you found value. If you liked the episode, give it a thumbs up. Comment below with what you learned. And if you go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll be notified for new podcast episodes coming out. Now, I want to go ahead and show you, if you see here on your screen, you can click join our Facebook group page, and you can go ahead and be a member of our community page. We love to be able to share what type of technology you're using on this page. And also, if you want to go ahead and do some networking all across the country, you can go ahead and network on this Facebook group page. If you're a real estate professional, focus on a specific niche, whether it's a buyer specific type, seller specific type, or a specific area. We would love to hear your story and how are you growing and scaling your business using technology to focus on that demographic. And if you're a technology owner, have a technology you want to share, and you want to be featured on Real Estate vs. Technology, the podcast, all you have to go ahead and do is send us an email at reversetechtalk@gmail.com, and we'll see you on the next one.